A few weeks ago, I had Bob Wood from BobsCNC on my Saturday night live stream, the Hobby CNC with Dave show. After the show, Bob and I were hanging out, and I mentioned that I really like his Revolution rotary axis machine. And so he said, heck, I'll send you one. The Revolution kit arrived a few days later, and it took me a few days before I had time to start working on it. But I unboxed it and laid out all the parts and sprayed some clear polyurethane on all the parts. And as you can see, there was a lot of parts, more than I even imagined. And so it took me really one whole day of spreading them out here and spraying them and then waiting and flipping them over to spray the other side and then coming back to finish them all up. But I got them all done and proceeded to do some of the assembly. And again, did I mention there's a lot of parts, and there's also a lot of screws and nuts, and there you see my little handy magnet laying there. You almost have to have one of those to put one of these things together, because those little tiny M4 nuts are in some places that are kind of hard to hold with your fingers. But I just worked at it steady and got the thing all together. And I don't know, I guess probably just working on it a little here and there, probably about 12 to 15 hours or so, I had the thing ready to go and was ready to do a dry run just to test it out. Here you can see I've got the thing mostly together. I just need to finish clearing off my work table and get ready to connect it to my laptop and try to do a little dry run here. And here I'm just kind of moving it around, and actually loaded a program and let it just kind of move to make sure that I had everything adjusted the way it should be. I am an old Mach 3 controller software user, so this was brand new to me, because this one runs with an Arduino control, and so I'm using Universal G-Code Sender, I think, for this dry run here. After testing it out with a few dry runs, I was ready to stick something in this thing and see what I could do with it. So I got some just 2x4s and laminated a couple of pieces together and decided to do my first little project. I have Vectric VCAR Pro, so I use that to create the rounding tool path as well as the roughing and finishing tool path for this little project. And you can see what I made was a little small bust of Albert Einstein. I had ran one of those before on another machine. I had set these accessories back in the box after I sprayed them with the clear urethane, and I really kind of forgot about them. But then after I ran that first little project, I decided I want to try using the other little chuck that's down in the lower left. You can see it has your 2 pins, and you can put that into the Longworth chuck and then use one of those little plates that's in the upper right and put that to the end of your workpiece. Here I've got the quick chuck, put it in the Longworth chuck, and then you have to really snug those down to make those little rubber stops, or whatever you call them, spread out to grip that thing really good. I moved the tailstock up and fastened it down just to help hold that quick chuck in place while I tighten down all those nuts. There's like 8 of them that you have to spin the thing around and tighten them down really good. I took my stock out to my miter saw and cut just a smidgen off of both sides, or both ends rather, so that I would have a good flat surface to mark my center line and put that little plate. Here you can see I'm using a center finder to mark my center because these things aren't exactly equal dimensions. So there you can see I got one end marked, and there's a mark on the other end. And then I also took an awl and put a little divot in the end of it there so that I'd be able to line up this little plate. And I just took a roofing nail and stuck in that center hole, and then found the divot, and then I was able to find the location where that was going to go. And I just used my little hot gun, put about 3 or 4 little dabs on that plate, pressed it in, and then you can see I also ran a bead around the outside to hold it, and it seemed to work really well. I wanted to try using the rounding wizard that comes in the new basic sender from BobsCNC, so I used that to create the rounding tool path, and it's really simple to use, and it worked really well, as you'll see coming up here. I really like using the quick chuck assembly. Just by using that little mounting plate and the 2 pins, it makes it much easier and faster to get your stock located and get it ready to run without having to fool with that long work chuck. So I'm probably just going to leave that thing mounted in that long work chuck and keep using it like that. It's just a whole lot easier than the other way. If you're watching this video on February 26, 2022, you can learn more about the Revolution rotary axis machine and the basic sender software if you tune in tonight to my live stream, the Hobby CNC with Dave show, where I'll have Bob Woods and Keith Havens from BobsCNC on my show tonight. Until the next one, thank you very much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe and click the little bell so you'll get notifications every time I upload a new video.